there's a good chance that if you're unfamiliar with the game and someone mentions the name Dark Scorpions to you, you think that it's a pretty sick and meta-relevant archetype. Well, sadly that's not the case. And yeah, Dark Scorpions are an archetype used by one of their monsters known as Don Zalug. And yeah, just like Gravekeepers, this is a dual spirit archetype, so yeah, they are GX era archetype, and they were relevant in season 1, only plot-wise, mind you, as they were one of the 7-star assassins during that time when they were after the Sacred Beast cards. So anyway, let us start with this archetype with our first monster, Dark Scorpion Chick the Yellow. It's a level 3 with Dark Warrior with 1000 attack and defense, and when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can activate one of these effects. You can either target a card on the field and bounce it back to the hand, or you can look at the top of their opponent's deck and then return one of the card you looked at to the top or the bottom of the deck. Okay, so all of the Dark Scorpion's effects activate when they inflict battle damage to the opponent. So for the rest of the cards in the archetype, I'm just gonna read out the first and the second effect to save time. And as you can see, the archetype is focused on dealing battle damage with with monsters that couldn't get over anything if their life depended on it. And yeah, as for Chick's actual effect, the first one has a potential to be very devastating, as bouncing back any card can be especially dangerous if you're using it against a powerful extra deck monster. However, chances of bouncing back extra deck monsters are very slim since most of them are immune to targeting. And the second effect is not going to be relevant anytime soon unless you're playing against the Emancipators or Sylvans. So yeah, it has the potential to be an okay card, but the fact that it's this slow means it's not going to be relevant anytime soon. Although the card did actually have an OTK available with the pre-errata Makura the Destructor, which Rada explained in his own video, where you basically send them to the graveyard and then use any continuous revival trap to bring back Chick from the graveyard in order to continue ramming into the opponent's life points until they become 0 by bouncing back your traps, so you can repeat the process over and over again. And of course you need a pre-errata Makura the Destructor, which is no longer available, and of course your opponent needs to be open for a direct attack for some reason. So yeah, by any means necessary. So yeah, moving on to their next monster, Dark Scorpion Cliff the Trap Remover. His first effect is that he allows you to target one spell or trap on the field and destroy it, and the second effect is to send the top 2 cards of their deck to the graveyard. The first effect is very slow and unreliable, since popping back row after battle is something you rarely ever want to do with anything ever, while the second effect was relevant in the age-old meta when discarding and milling was actually harmful to the opponent instead of making them plus. So you could make the argument that this card wasn't exactly that bad in its prime. However, in its prime is the key word here, because playing this against a Lightsworn player, Burning Abyss player, or any player playing in the modern game, it's basically a +2. Next up, we have their first level 4 monster, Dark Scorpion Meanie the Thorn. She has 1000 attack and 1800 defense, and her first effect allows you to add a Dark Scorpion card from your deck to your hand. And the second effect is that it allows you to activate to target a Dark Scorpion card in the graveyard and add it to the hand. Now, you might be saying a searcher that can search the cards out from both the deck and the graveyard, and not to mention that it's a Dark Scorpion card, not necessarily limited to monsters, because and you might think that this effect is actually amazing, but the fact that she has to do battle in order to do that makes her way too slow to be of any use. However, she does come from a way slower format, so this kind of effect could be forgiven for uh, being the way it is, since again, slower formats require a bit slower cards in order to be balanced out. So yeah, however, it is fun if you actually manage to set her on your first turn and then the opponent rams into it with a weaker monster enabling a surge. So yeah, but we ain't in those days anymore. Yeah, so she's probably gonna get taken care of before the start of the battle phase if you're using her for that purpose. But yeah, combined with Moon Mirror Shield, she's a pretty legit searcher, and you should always run 2 or 3 of her in your deck. Next up we have the titular Don Zulu, and yeah, he hasn't got Dark Scorpion in his name because he actually comes from way before all the other cards in the Archetype, and that was even before the time the Archetypes were even a thing. And his first effect allows you to discard a random card from their hand, and the second effect is the exact same effect as Cliff the Trap Remover's effect. And yeah, this guy was actually meta relevant for a very long time for the same reason as Cliff the Trap Remover. However, the first effect is actually somewhat good because it actually can get rid of some potential Ash Blossoms or other hand traps which might be hindering you, since, well, Omega is currently limited, Cyframe Omega is currently limited at 1 for banishing 1 card randomly from your hand, so you could potentially say that he's a weaker version of Omega. Yeah, probably. The main gripe I have with this card is that he does not have Dark Scorpion in his name, meaning he's not searchable by Meanie the Thorn. But yeah, you can always use Rhoda to search him out, but Rhoda is limited, so good luck with that. And now we move on to their first level 5 monster, Dark Scorpion Gorg the Strong. Its first effect is that it allows you to target a monster your opponent controls and spin it back to the top of the deck, or it allows you to send the top card of their deck to the graveyard. Okay, the second effect is literally outclassed by 2 other cards in the Archetype, that being the Don Zulu and Cliff the Trap Remover. However, the first one is essentially a worse version of Chick's effect, since, again, Chick bounces back any card to the hand, while this one only spins back to the top of the deck, so you've basically done the same thing, unless you, of course, bounce back an extra deck monster, which, okay, it's the exact same thing, so yeah. But it can potentially be useful for preventing the opponent from drawing further. Yeah, that's the only use I can think of this card. Basically, a prototype Yara lock, if anything. And not to mention that this is a level 5 with 1800 attacks, so always love to see those weak stat lines on our tribute monster, because yeah, it's just that amazing. Anyway, Gorg the Strong is not strong at all. And their final monster is Dark Scorpion Burglars. I would have looked at this a bit earlier, but I wanted to talk about Gorg the Strong beforehand. Anyway, it's a level 4 Dark Warrior with 1000 attack and defense, and when it inflicts battle damage to your opponent sends 1 spell card from their deck to the graveyard. Okay, I imagine like a lot of Sky Striker players are just shivering in their underwear right now due to the very powerful nature of this card. Yeah, I'm just talking out of my ass. This card is an absolute piece of garbage. Besides one very niche play and very specific play, which Arata also described in his video, and that involves the spell card Jackpot 7, which has the effect that when it's sent to the graveyard you can banish it, and when you have 3 copies of banished Jackpot 7 by this effect, you win the duel. So essentially what you do with this thing, you actually give it to your opponent via something like Sheehan Spy or Creature Swap, and then find a way to take damage from it 3 times, and then you win the duel. Simple and easy. And this combo is, again, just like Chick the Yellow's Makura combo, perfectly legal nowadays, because Jackpot 7 isn't banned, and it does not have an errata like Makura the Destructor does. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on to their final two cards. First of which we have their one only spell, Mustering of the Dark Scorpions. If you control a face-up Don Zalug, you can special summon any number of Dark Scorpion monsters from your hand, but only one copy of each. This sounds like a potentially useful effect, but the fact that it's limited to their least searchable monsters and that you can only summon singles with this card makes it borderline unplayable. If you run this, it's not more than one because you need an ungodly amount of setup in order for this thing to even make any sort of relevance in the current situation. And their final card is Dark Scorpion Combination, which is a normal trap card which you can only activate if you control Don Zalug, Cliff the Trap Remover, Chick the Yellow, Gorg the Strong, and Meanie the Thorn. During this turn, those 5 monsters can attack your opponent's life points directly, but all damage they inflict is 400. Okay, so yeah, I really get the concept of this card and the general idea, but the restrictions on this card are so insanely out the ass that I can't round them all up. First of all, it requires every card, minus the Burglars of course, to be on the field, and then you get to attack directly for 5 times with 400 damage. So yeah, that's 2000 damage, which you can easily achieve with 2 level 10 monsters and Gustav Max by not even entering your battle phase, or by simply, you know, attacking with Sunday on the Time Lord. So yeah, but yeah, I really get the idea. But why the hell is it even a trap card? Because you absolutely do not have any reason to activate it during the opponent's turn, unless you somehow enter the opponent's battle phase or anything. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass again. And the second reason is, if this card actually required you to control Don Zalug or any Dark Scorpion monster, I would have actually considered it a bit more useful, because you could actually activate it if you don't have the entire gang on the field, and you can actually alternate the effects that you want to use at this time. But as it is right now, it requires all 5 of them to be on the field, and not all of them are worth running, mind you. So yeah, it's a very, very debatable choice if you for you to consider running, and it will never be ran at any more than 1 at the state it is right now. And that was it for this archetype, so let's move on to the grading scale. In terms of consistency, the fact that they are Dark Warriors means they have some third-party searching capabilities, but none of it really matters. Meanie is their only archetypal searchers, but she's way too slow to be of any relevance. Rhoda is limited, so this is a 1 out of 3. The power aspect is the fact that their strongest monster has 1800 attack, and that should speak for itself, so 1 out of 3. In terms of comeback ability, well, I don't know. I can't think of anything that I might consider worthy comeback ability. Maybe if your hand is perfectly set up for a Mustering of the Dark Scorpions combo, and then you go into a Link monster from there. I don't know. 1 out of 3. Protection, nowhere to be seen, so 1 out of 3. And as for the versatility, I guess Don Zalug can occasionally snipe a Ash Blossom out of the hand, and that's about it. And Chick the Yellow can disrupt a few, and the Emancipator plays, and the Sylvan plays every once in a while. Yeah, 1 out of 3 here as well. These guys are the prime example of an incompetent deck, which is perfectly reflected in their personality in various cards they appeared in, such as Trap Dust Shoot, Needle Ceiling, no, Needle Wall. Needle Wall, that's where Don Zalug is gonna get compressed into. Timidity as well. Yeah, they appeared in a lot of cards as this group of incompetent bandits, yeah, very fitting, I might add. Anyway, this is it for today's archetype analysis. Be sure to stay tuned for the next one, because we'll be taking a look at another borderline unplayable GX era archetype. As for now, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos and updates. Comment, like, and subscribe. Be sure to check out my Patreon when you got the time. Maybe drop a few donations if you feel like it. And I'll upload the next vid whenever I can. So see you all and have a good day. Peace.